Welcome back. Yes, welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for joining us yet again for another Student of the Gun Radio. Folks, we appreciate the fact that you're here with us, that you made the wise decision to take your time and listen up. Listen a little bit louder. And if you don't understand what that means, then you absolutely need to listen louder. Do they not, Jared?
They do.
They do, he says as he punches his microphone and turns it on. And that is Jared. He is the production engineer, just in case you didn't know that. And I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and I'm sitting in the Glass Case of Emotion Studios. I was just going to ask him. I will go ahead and talk because he just took a big bite of his breakfast. So I won't. Go ahead and chew and swallow your breakfast there, kid, and then I'll ask you a question afterwards. Yeah, Jared and I, we had a good night in the gym last night. I believe that we did. Some serious lifting of heavy objects and striking of cloth-filled bags and what have you. Have you guys ever looked inside of a punching bag? I'll give you a clue. It's not filled with sand. Remember that story, Jared? One of our guys came in and he's like, "Yeah, my father-in-law bought a punching bag online and it arrived empty, so he filled it with sand." We don't fill them with sand, kids.
Let me know how that works for you.
Other than Goliath, which is filled with the crushed bones of our enemies and apparently concrete fragments. No, broken cinder blocks and the crushed bones of our enemies. Actually, inside those bags is clothing remnants. When they manufacture clothing, they have lots left over. Have all these little pieces of clothing left over. Well, they sell that to these guys who fill punching bags. So that's what you've got there. So what I was going to ask you when you took your big bite of breakfast there was how you're feeling today.
I feel good.
You feel good?
Am I supposed to not feel good?
No, I know you had a really serious workout Monday. Monday was a busy night at the gym, and then you worked out again yesterday, and it was pretty. The gym was popping on Monday night.
Yep. Yesterday we just went over some technical stuff.
We had kids in there. We had the kids class going. We had the adult monster class going. And they were pounding and smashing and yelling and hurting people. It was the exact opposite of Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
People were actually working and exerting themselves and making noise. Ugh.
Alex and I were talking this morning on the way to work, and it's we have a Planet Fitness nation now. That's what Planet Fitness has infected everybody in the United States.
Yeah, actually, Planet Fitness is not so much the disease as the number one symptom of the disease. Mm-hmm. We have an entire nation filled with people that are so overwhelmingly concerned with their own personal comfort, and I guess you could say it's, I don't know if it's complete narcissism or what it is, but I'm gonna go ahead and read you a quote, and it goes something like this: Americans have been so coddled and protected from discomfort that when they're excuse me, let me start all over again. Americans have been so coddled and protected from discomfort, told that their feelings are what matter most. When they encounter truth, rather than view it as a warning, they see it as an offense. And ask yourself if you do not see, experience, notice that on a day-to-day basis. People are confronted with not opinions, not blogosphere nonsense, but actual truth. For instance, the truth about the current community organizer that is occupying the White House.
I thought you were going to say the truth about posers.
Truth about, there's posers, but and they can't accept it. It's like when they're told the truth, it's offensive to them. They find the truth offensive because it hurts their widow feelings. And they've been convinced their whole lives that their feelings are what matters. It's not how something actually is, it's how you feel about it that's important. And that fits right exactly in with what Jared's saying about the whole Planet Fitness nation. The judgment-free zone. the gym that you can join online, print up a membership card, give them all of your billing information, and then never go. And they're perfectly happy. The ugly little secret, or the dirty little secret, is that Planet Fitness doesn't want you to come there. They absolutely don't want you to go there. When you have a gym that allows you to sign up and give them your money without ever even walking into the building, what is most important to them? What is most important to them is you doing a monthly debit from your checking account and then never showing up. And now I understand that if everyone that was a member of Planet Fitness showed up at the same time, the building would be filled and there wouldn't be any room for anyone. I understand that. But it's what Jared just said was very truthful. We have a Planet Fitness nation. People that are overwhelmed by their own sense of or their need for comfort, to be protected from discomfort. Psychological, not just physical discomfort. I mean, we've gone way beyond that. I mean, everyone understands that you should never be physically uncomfortable, but you should never be emotionally uncomfortable either. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you, is for you to be emotionally uncomfortable.
It's not only that, it's the both sides of Planet Fitness, or it's the same thing in this nation. There, you got the people that go in there that want to be protected from judgment per se, and then you've got the establishment, Planet Fitness, or the government that actually wants to make it a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, actually, Planet Fitness is exactly like the current administration or government. They say that they're all-inclusive, and that they include everyone. We don't discriminate. We love everyone. But actually, they do. Yeah. They are the most discriminatory. Don't try and take a kettlebell in there.
Oh, yeah.
We already know that.
They'll tell you to get out.
Crowder did a really great, I guess, investigative report video where he dressed like Bruce Jenner. You know, did the whole pre-op transsexual thing, and went in there and tried to use the squat rack, and they told him they didn't have one, and they banned him. And he said, "I thought that you loved everyone, and that this is a judgment-free zone, but you're judging me." And not only did you see that video? Not only did they ban him, but they took his picture, and he was in drag, obviously, and sent it to all the other Planet Fitnesses in the area. So when he went to another one, they're like, "Oh no, you're not allowed to come in here."
That's funny.
You can't come in. So,
sometimes judging people fixes them. I'm just saying, they're either going to go fix themselves, or they're going to go eat their ice cream, and natural selection happens.
Well, that's and that's why people are able to stay so long in their soft period, is because people or others, their friends, people that know them, are afraid to say, "Hey, dude, you've languished into your soft period here. You're really slacking off," because I don't want to hurt their feelings. Well, yeah, but people need to be told. Your friends, a good friend will tell you, "Dude, you're screwing up." I almost went big boy hour on you for a second there. They'll tell you, "Hey, you need to harden up." "Oh no, you can't tell people that, Paul. You can't tell people that they need to harden up. Who are you to judge? Who are you to tell them? Blah 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 blah." That'd be like going out for football, and the coach, is yelling at you to run faster, and you're like, "Who are you to tell me to run faster? I'm running at the exact correct pace that I wish to run." Oh. Well, what do we got on tap for you today? It is a Thursday. We've got we're going to talk about Aesop's fables.
Oh, speaking of on tap, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead.
However, speaking of on tap, apparently peasants are not allowed to send beer to each other. So there's that.
Oh, duh! You didn't know that? Did you actually think that you could send beer through UPS or whatever? No.
Why can't you?
You have to have government approval. You have to have permission.
So stupid.
You have to have permission from the government.
I want some frickin' Yingling.
No, you have to get special permission from the government to do that. Oh. Duh. Did you think that you actually had the freedom to do that?
I guess that's what I get for thinking.
Oh my! Come on! Can you imagine if people were allowed to ship beer to each other? There'd be anarchy. It'd be anarchy. People would be dying in the streets. Yeah, you just don't know. Oh.
I never thought that. I would never even put that together that you would.
You don't have
be able
the
to
slave peasant mentality.
Yeah, I was like, ship us some Yingling, and they're like,
no, you can't.
You can't. I'm like, what?
You can't.
Why can't
it's
you?
It's illegal. Because the person on the other end might not be 21.
Whatever.
Yeah, welcome to America 2015. It's just reasonable. Jared, you need to be more reasonable. I don't think you're being reasonable enough. I think that's what it is. I think you need to go to a special seminar at a special camp that teaches you to be more reasonable. Yeah. Oh, no way. Dude. Whataburger is effing up big time. Remember it was in Texas. Was it in Texas or was somewhere where they came out and said that their employees have the right to feel safe, and so that they're telling Texas people not to open carry in their restaurants because it made their employees feel unsafe? Fox 13, Tampa Bay. Cops say a Whataburger employee refused service to them, saying, "We don't serve police officers here." Wow. Just wow.
Will you drop that in the notes?
Oh, I'm dropping right now, my brother. And this just popped up in front of my little eyes. Oh, sweet boot on a rubber raft. So what was the last one? Oh, it was Arby's. It was Arby's that an employee decided that they didn't serve police officers. And I think the Arby's one said that, was it they don't serve cops or they wouldn't serve him because he had a gun on? I can't remember which one it was. But North Texas Whataburger. Oh, this is from Fox. Fox 13 Tampa Bay is the reporting agency, but it didn't actually happen in Florida. Dateline, Lewisville, Texas. 2 North Texas police officers said they were turned away from a Whataburger. Officers Mike McGovern and Cameron Beckman were working off-duty security at a construction site on Interstate 35 overnight. Decided to grab something to eat at a local Whataburger. McGovern said before he could even order, a man behind the counter said, "We don't serve police officers." The officers thought it was a joke, and the man behind the counter didn't say anything else. They ended up leaving and going to Dairy Queen instead. Whataburger said on its Facebook page that they are, quote, investigating the claim. This is 100% not what we stand for at Whataburger. It would never be acceptable to refuse service to a police officer. We want to address this as soon as possible. We've seen it on social media, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the deal, dudes and dudettes. The reason this stuff is happening, I'm going to tell you 100% the reason this stuff is happening. This is happening because the socialist in chief, the community organizer in chief, has essentially given the nod. He has ushered in a war on police. Now, keep in mind, this is not a war on federal agents, because if you work for the federal government, then you're all good. But if you're a local police officer, if you're a sheriff's deputy, if you're a municipal cop, if you actually live and work in the community that you serve, then you're bad. What did our friend James say about blue flu?
Yeah, why didn't that happen?
Yeah. Because reasons. But so what you have is a bunch of individuals who feel legitimately in their twisted and sick brains, they feel that they've been given permission from the commander-in-chief. They've been given permission from Comrade Barry to hate on the police. Well, you say, Paul, you can't support that. Really? I can't support that? Where is the commander-in-chief on the assassination murders of police officers across the nation. It seems to me that if you guys have memories, go all the way back to the beginning of the current immaculation, the current disgrace that we call an administration, that a white police officer got into a confrontation with a black professor at a was it Massachusetts? It was some stupid place in New England. And the first thing Comrade Barry did was jump in front of a microphone and say that the officer acted stupidly, not based upon any investigation on his own or having possession of any facts. All he knew was that a non-black police officer confronted a black professor, and ergo, the officer acted stupidly. Do you guys understand the country that we live in today? Do you get it yet? That's why people that the geniuses that work at Arby's and Whataburger and what have you that are demanding $15 an hour, that's why they feel emboldened and enabled to refuse service to police officers, because of that. Yeah. All right, moving on. What are we moving on to next, crazy? I'm watching. I still had the story open, and it ended, and it went on with some recipe where the woman was pouring ketchup into a pan. And, oh, I know what it was. It was a ribs. It was a rib sauce. No, it was for regular ribs. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Yeah, I love that, but I don't remember. It's like the best chicken that you could eat from your grandma or something. I don't know. Whatever.
All right, thank you to Brownells, brownells.com. Duracoat, you can find that at brownells.com or lauerweaponry.com. Thank you to those guys. Crossbreed holsters, the most comfortable in the waistband holster you're ever going to wear.
That's your assignment this week.
That's right. This week's assignment, it is Thursday already, so if you have not gotten on it this week, you're falling behind. This week's thank you is Crossbreed Holsters. Make sure that you go to one of their many social media pages and thank them. And we reminded you yesterday that they actually do have a gun district page, so you can go there. You ready to talk about the Fable? Yes? Okay. Let's talk about a Fable. This is kind of funny. I was working, all of you who subscribe to the Student of the Gun news broadcast list, the newsletter, the electronic broadcast, all of you that subscribe to that, on, I don't know what day it was a while ago, it was a few days ago, I was working on a letter, a broadcast to you, to send out to you folks. And essentially, it was entitled The Uncomfortable Truth. And I sent it to you folks first. Those of you that were subscribers to the free newsletter, the broadcast subscribers, you got it first. And then 2 days later, I put it up on the blog section, and we shared it, and it's been shared on AmmoLand and so forth. Well, while I was doing that, my lovely daughter sent me a message, and she said, "Are you aware of the fable of the fox and the wild boar?" Now, I was aware of the fable of the fox and the and the crow, the sour grapes thing. I was aware of that, and I'm aware of a lot of Aesop's fables. Now, if you went to public school 30 years ago, if you went to any school in the last 20 years or so, you're probably familiar with Aesop's fables, and that's AESOP. If you're familiar with those, you know that they're very short little stories using animals to make a point. And it's, when you read them as a kid, it's easy to think, oh, well, these are children's stories, but the fact of the matter is, if you read the stories, if you read the fables, yeah, they're written for children, but they actually do have adult lessons. Read the story about the sour grapes and so forth, and you'll be amazed. You're like, wow, that actually applies to the real world. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the story or the fable of the fox and the wild boar. And this is something that I was not aware of up until this time. Now the source, this if you type in fox and wild boar fable, it's all over the place. There's lots of different sources. There's actually a horrible YouTube video, Jared. I tried to watch it. I thought we could pull it as video. It's like a 3.5 minute long cartoon that looks like it was made in Bulgaria or Lithuania or maybe even, where was Borat from?
I don't know where he was from.
Kazakhstan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Maybe it was made in Kazakhstan, but and then the title is "The Wild Boar and the Fox." A wild boar was whetting his tusks against a tree, and that's WHETT for those of you that went to public school. A wild boar was whetting his tusks against a tree when a fox coming by asked why he did so. "For," said he, "I see no reason for it. There is neither hunter nor hound in sight, nor any other danger that I can see at hand." "True," replied the wild boar, "but when the danger does arise, I shall have something else to do other than sharpen my weapons." And the moral of the story is, it is too late to whet a sword when the trumpet sounds to draw it. How awesome is that? and I'm hoping that some of you out there in the audience are familiar with that fable, but many of you may not be. And you're thinking, how come I wasn't taught that in elementary school? How come I wasn't taught that fable in 3rd grade or what have you? It is too late to whet the sword, and again, that's WHET, when the trumpet sounds to draw it. And I don't know how long ago Aesop wrote his fables. You could do that. Jared, Google that while you're, or duck it or whatever. Search that. How old is that? My point is this. There is so much that we knew and understood as a human race, as a culture, as a human culture. There's so much that we knew and understood to be true. We understood the realities of life 100 years ago, 50 years ago even, 200 years ago. We understood the realities of life, and we taught those to our children. We educated our children. We didn't coddle our children. We made them perform. We didn't tell them that 2 + 2, you think 2 + 2 = 5, but it doesn't really, but you tried, so here's a cookie.
According to Wikipedia, which I don't know how true this is, but he lived in ancient Greece between 620 and 560 BC.
So this could literally be over 1,000 years old. And well, when who knows when the fables were translated or what have you. Yeah. But folks, how spot on is that? And what's really interesting to me, ironic, whatever you want to call it, is that I got that text from my daughter saying, "Hey, are you aware of this fable?" while I was writing the Uncomfortable Truths broadcast to send out to you guys. Now, the Uncomfortable Truth article, essentially, if for some reason, some strange reason, you're listening to the sound of my voice and you have not perused or read that yet, I'm not really sure what to say to you, because if you're listening to me, you should be caught up. You should be one of the enlightened ones. But I'm going to go ahead and share some of it with you. And this is the uncomfortable truth about cold and timid souls. Did you guys, have you taken the time to read Citizenship in a Republic yet by Theodore Roosevelt? Did you, Jared? Did you take the time to read it?
Did you? I meant to ask you this when I read the article, but where did you get the picture, the first picture that's in there?
I took it with my phone.
Oh, no kidding.
Of your hands.
Was that recently or was
No, dude, that was when you were standing outside. That's when you were standing outside of the original Dixon's Dungeon.
Wow. I was like, because I don't remember those wraps.
Yeah, those are old white wraps.
Yeah. It's like I did a crappy job wrapping my hands. Wow.
Yeah. It was just, I said, hey, because I remember saying something about, those were short wraps too.
Yeah.
But it's illustrative.
Yeah,
It makes the point. But if you have not taken the time yet, I want you guys to go over to studentofthegun.com, click on the blog, and take a look at the new article, at the Uncomfortable Truth, Cold and Timid Souls. And at very least, if you do nothing else, you say, I don't like your writing, I don't like your style, I don't care. All right, fine, I don't care. click on the link, Citizenship in a Republic by Theodore Roosevelt. This was a speech that he gave in 1910. 1910, over 100 years ago. You read this speech and you're like, when I was reading it, I thought to myself, wow, he could have given that speech yesterday. The things that he points out and the language he uses, which is, it's sad. We like to believe in the United States of America. We like to pat ourselves on the back and tell ourselves how great we are and intelligent and enlightened and blah, blah, blah. The fact of the matter is, you read a speech that was written 100 years ago, and often people don't even understand the words that are being used. Because instead of growing as a culture and expanding our minds, we're actually in a process where we're devolving. We're not evolving, we're devolving, and we're going back to a form of communication where we just speak in monosyllabic words and grunts and groans. And we've accepted it. We culturally accept it. We're like, well, that's how certain people talk. No, that's how intellectually lazy slugs talk. Doesn't make it right. We're devolving to a point where we can barely communicate with each other. It's like we have to communicate with each other via emotion now. But if you read nothing else, I want you to take a moment. I want you to click on that Citizenship in a Republic. And it is a long speech. It's a good thing that Teddy Roosevelt wrote long speeches, Jared, because if he didn't write long speeches, he wouldn't have lived as long as he did. You're cocking your head up like an RSO dog. Do you remember the assassination attempt on Teddy Roosevelt and the bullet was slowed and stopped by the speech that was in his pocket?
Oh, really?
Yes.
He
delivered a speech with a bullet hole in his chest.
Wow.
He was shot. An assassin attempted to kill him on his way to deliver a speech. They shot him through the jacket. He had his speech rolled up, folded up in his jacket. It slowed the bullet. He was still injured. He got up, delivered the speech, then went and sought medical treatment after. Huh. Can you fathom that today? Can you imagine that?
Nope.
If a politician today thought that they saw a gun, forget about it being actually fired. Forget about them being actually injured. If they thought today that they smelled a gun, they would run, they would flee, they would hide. They would bring in the Gestapo to freaking frisk everyone and put them on the floor, and they would make everyone shelter in place as they kicked in doors. And they certainly name one person today who claims to be a, quote, leader, who would have the chutzpah to deliver a speech while injured or bleeding. You're like, Paul, you're smoking crack, dude. There's no way. If they stubbed their toe on the way to the podium, they would cancel it and go seek emergency medical treatment. Teddy Roosevelt, talk about, he was the good one. He wasn't the socialist. His cousin, the other Roosevelt, was the socialist, and we're still being plagued by the socialist crap that that Teddy's cousin foisted upon us during World War II.
That's I don't even see. When I was in high school, we didn't really learn a lot about that.
Why would you? You wouldn't want to learn about someone who actually had balls of steel. You wouldn't want to learn that. You want to learn about these mealy-mouthed little socialists. That's more important to you. Mm-hmm. You did not know that Teddy Roosevelt was shot. In the speech that was folded up in his jacket?
I didn't know he gave a speech while he was shot. No, I didn't know that.
He went up, delivered a speech, left, and went and got medical assistance.
Nope.
Wow.
Why would they tell us that?
Oh, I would tell you. I want to tell you that. That doesn't lead to your subservience. That might actually make you think that you have power in the world, and we don't want that. The peasants cannot be allowed. So it's just as long as you know your place. So share that fable. Share that Aesop fable. It's the fable of the fox and the wild boar. We put a link in for you guys right there. I've also put the link in the show notes to the Uncomfortable Truth article. But if you're a hip cat, if you have if they have this crazy thing on their phone, there's this crazy thing on their phone and their iPad where they can actually access the articles immediately.
Oh yeah,
what's that thing called?
It's called the Student of the Gun mobile app.
You have that?
I do, yeah.
Are we allowed to use it?
I have it on more than one device.
What? That's crazy talk.
Are we allowed to say freebie still?
I
don't
say free content.
No, I'll just say freebie because I'm a Jared Markle and I can do what I want.
Do you say hoodie too? Even though
I can say what I want to say. But anyway, so there's freebie. There's a freebie on the mobile app. If you go there, you can get the. I think the tab says freebie. Does it not?
On the mobile app?
Yeah. Or does it say... no, it says Freeport.
Freeport.
That's what it is. Freeport.
Not the Bahamas.
No. Yep. So you go there and get the One Box Workout and enjoy it. You can take it to the range with you because it's on your mobile device.
I know. How crazy is that? So you download the Student of the Gun mobile app on your iPad or your iPhone or your Android phone or whatever it is you feel like doing. Then you go to the range. You open up the free report or the Freeport, and it's the One Box Workout, a step-by-step way that you can make the absolute most, not only of your time, but of your available ammunition.
Yep.
See, it's a 5-step training. Actually, what we refer to it as is a skill maintenance drill. And I recommend that people do that all the time. Before you try and do fancy stuff or fast shooting or what have you, make sure that your fundamentals are solid and sound. And the One Box Workout is a fantastic way to ensure that your handgun handling, your pistol shooting fundamentals are solid. Because it doesn't really do you any good to try and run and gun and duck and dive and do all kinds of crazy stuff if your fundamentals aren't there. Then you're just making noise and launching bullets all over the landscape. Mm-hmm. Make sure your fundamentals are solid. And then once you have a solid foundation, you build on those and you do more stuff.
Yeah.
Jared, make sure that if you enjoyed yesterday's episode, Treasure Quest with Court Graham, Jared shared it on our social media, and you are allowed to share that as well. Now, we've got a public school psychological terrorism update here, but it's not one that... Well, it's unusual. It's a little bit strange, but we wanted to share it with you anyway, and I wanted to take a moment to dissect this story for you. So go ahead, Jared.
When we grew up and went to school, there were certain teachers who would let the children any way they could.
All right, this story comes to us from the DallasNews.com. Let me go ahead and open the story link here. It's dallasnews.com/news/community. The Dallas Morning News title: Irving, 9th grader, arrested for taking homemade clock to school. Quote, so you made a bomb? Well, here's the deal. Not only is this kid a 9th grader, but he also is named, is it Muhammad? I think it's Muhammad. It's Ahmed Mohammed. Okay, so he's obviously not of Irish descent. You look at the kid, he looks like a skinny little 14-year-old kid, because that's what 9th graders are, right? 9th graders are like, at the beginning of 9th grade year, most boys, when it's the beginning now, I mean, most boys are 14 years old. So he looks like a skinny little 14-year-old kid with a dark complexion. His name is Ahmed Mohammed, age 14. Now, what I want you guys to do is I want you to listen. Jared has he's got the audio from the story here, and he's going to play it. And I want you to go ahead and listen, and then we're going to break it down for you. Like I said, this is a little bit different than our normal stories.
My hobby is to invent stuff, and
That's
I do a lot of stuff.
Ahmed.
For example, inventing this type of stuff right here, Transformers. You get what I'm saying here. But I made a clock. It was really easy. I wanted to show her something small at first, but they took a wrong point of it and they thought it was a bomb. So I got arrested for a hoax bomb. An officer and the principal came and took me up, and they took me to a room filled with 5 officers, which they interrogated me and searched through my stuff and took my tablet and my invention. And then later that day, I was taken to a juvenile center detention center where they searched me. They took a fingerprint and mugshots of me, and they searched me until my parents came, and then I got to leave the building and the station. And I went home and talked to my parents about it because I couldn't call my parents during the interrogation until I got to the station. It was a digital clock, and the digital display had four number lines on it. A number line of hour and a number line of minutes.
Okay, go ahead and pull that down.
All
right, let's talk about this. For those of you that have school-age children, let's talk about this. All right, number 1. Let's start with the original story. Irving Ahmed Mohammed, who makes his own radios and repairs his own go-kart, hoped to impress his teachers when he brought a homemade clock to MacArthur High on Monday. Instead, the school phoned police about Ahmed's circuit-stuffed pencil case. So the 14-year-old missed student council meeting. And took a trip in handcuffs to the juvenile detention center. His clock now sits in an evidence room. Police said they have yet to charge him. Say they may yet charge him with making a hoax bomb, though they acknowledge he told everyone that would listen that it was a clock. In the meantime, Ahmed's been suspended.
For what?
Exactly. His father is upset, and the Council on America... Oh, God, I knew that was going to happen. See, this is what happens when you don't use your damn brains, people. So now we have the Islamo-fascist CARE. They jump on this like raw meat. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual incident. Number 1, if the kid was going to make terroristic threats, he would have made terroristic threats. Would have actually made threats. Nowhere, anywhere in the story does it say that the kid said, aloha snack bar, death to infidels, anything like that. A box full of circuit boards sits at the foot of Ahmed's small bed. I don't need all this nonsense.
This is ridiculous because this can be taken by the mainstream media.
Yes.
And this could be used to divide us more.
Yes.
Because
here we go.
Because according to the mainstream media, the only reason this kid was apprehended was because he is brown.
No, the fact is this could have happened to your kid.
Yeah.
All right. This is not. I mean, I'm sure the fact that he's brown has something to do with it.
Right, but that's.
But how many kids have been arrested? West Virginia, sheriff's deputies called because kid has NRA T-shirt on his body, and it has crossed rifles. Sheriff's deputies called and removed the kid from the school for what? For wearing the T-shirt. Little Jimmy, 6-year-old Jimmy, who brings like a 1-inch toy gun that he got out of a gumball machine, is taken to be interrogated and pees his pants because he's held for an hour and a half in the principal's office. Kids holding a pencil in a threatening manner that looked like a gun are suspended. Do I need to talk about the Pop-Tart incident? Do I need to talk about the fact that the bus driver called the police because kids had airsoft guns in their front yards of their own home? Do we need to talk about the finger guns? Or not even the finger guns, but the kid making the drawing back a bow and loosing an arrow gesture with their hands after they watched the was it Catching Fire or the Hunger Games or what have you. The police, all right, step number 1. As a person who was a police officer, here's what I'm going to tell you. A juvenile in the United States of America cannot commit a crime. Yeah, they can, Paul. They commit crimes all the time. No. Listen up, freaks. Under the law, the only time that a juvenile, someone below age 18, can be convicted of the commission of a crime is if they are deemed to be mentally as an adult or charged as an adult. You always hear this, well, such and such is going to be charged as an adult. And you might have wondered, what is that all about? It means that they're just going to treat him like an adult? No. In the United States of America, a juvenile can only be one of two things. A juvenile can be a delinquent. They can be adjudicated to be a delinquent child based upon whatever. Theft, robbery, sexual assault, whatever. Or they can be deemed to be an unruly child based upon the actions that they committed. They refused to go to school, they ran away from home, that kind of thing. Unless a judge determines that a person under 18 is going to be tried as an adult or charged as an adult, the only thing that they can be is either a delinquent child or an unruly child. Okay, do you get that? Okay, now that we've got that established, when I went through the police academy, I know it was like, man, Paul, that was like over 20 years ago. I mean, things have changed in 20 years. No, they haven't changed that much. The only time that you could detain a child and not contact their parents is if either A, there were exigent circumstances. There was something actively going on that would prevent you from doing that. There's a fight, there's a theft, you're engaged in trying to apprehend a suspect. There's something going on that would prevent you from contacting the parents. Some type of exigent circumstance, some type of an emergency circumstance. You are not allowed to detain a child unless you can, without their parents' knowledge, unless A, you attempted to contact the parents and you were unable to contact them, and you can establish that. Or B, the circumstances were such that you could not. For instance, like a car crash or an active shooter situation or whatever.
Or you can do it if nobody stops you, apparently, because that's the way things are going now. If nobody stops me, I'll just go do it.
Yeah, or we're exactly.
There's no
Jared.
integrity anymore.
In the United States of America, we're so far beyond the what am I allowed to do to the what can I get away with. And folks, all right, for instance, we read the story and take out all the fluff and nonsense and sensationalism from the writers. There's a lot of sensationalism written into this story. And the audio piece that you just heard was the kid, it was heavily edited. You need to understand that. It was heavily edited by the news agency. The reporters asked the kid the questions. He gave the answers. Then they edited out the reporter questions so it was just appeared so that the kid was saying it. I understand that. Okay, we're intelligent. We're intellectually honest enough to discuss this amongst ourselves. Here are the facts. Kid goes to school with an electronic clock that he made and stuffed in a pencil box, right? Shows it to, according to the original story that we read, shows it to his engineering teacher, who says, oh, you did a really good job, but keep it to yourself or don't show anyone else or whatever. He has it in his backpack, book bag, whatever. In another class, it alarms, it goes ding-a-ling or what have you. And the teacher in that class wants to know what that noise is. So he shows her or him. Does it say her or him in there? Let's say it
was. I think it was a chick.
Z. It probably was a chick, but it could have been a metrosexual. Shows them, and this teacher says that it's a bomb. So it's already been viewed by another teacher. A teacher previously.
Here it says he showed it to engineering teacher first thing Monday morning and didn't get quite the reaction he'd hoped for. He was like, "That's really nice," Ahmed said. So he was talking about the teacher said his clock was really nice.
But he wasn't.
I would advise you not to show any other teachers. And then he said the alarm clock went off in the middle of a lesson. Ahmed brought his invention up to show her afterwards. She was like, "It looks like a bomb."
So what did she do?
I told her it doesn't look like a bomb to me. The teacher kept the clock, and the principal and the police officer pulled Ahmed out of sixth period. So,
okay.
I don't know.
So here we go. So the teacher looks at this thing and says that she thinks it's a bomb. Okay.
I don't know the timeline here. I don't know what period the English class was. So
It doesn't. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
just wondering.
So the teacher thinking that she has discovered a bomb. Oh, now, walk with me here. So, based upon that discovery, her reaction is, I'm going to confiscate it. So, what you're telling me is that you were so afraid of this object that you thought was a bomb, and your plan was to confiscate it and take it away from the kid. Now, I don't claim any background knowledge about Mohammed or Ahmed Mohammed. I mean, it may come out tomorrow that Ahmed Mohammed has been on like all these jihad websites or something. I don't think that's the case. It could be. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is what we have here is mere possession without intent. Like, oh, you can't take a risk, Paul. You can't take a risk. Stop yourself for a second. Hoax bomb. All right, why I could take a piece of PVC pipe and I could put 2 caps on it and carry it around in a backpack. And if no one knew anything about it, is that a hoax bomb? How does a hoax bomb become a hoax bomb, Jared? How does an object become a hoax bomb? If it's obviously not a real bomb, if it's just something inert, how does it become, especially if it doesn't look like a bomb, if it's like a bunch of circuits? Apparently now in America we're supposed to be afraid of wires and circuit boards.
Yep.
And clocks. We need to be afraid of clocks and wires and circuit boards. How does something become a hoax bomb?
That's a good question.
It becomes a hoax bomb when the person in possession of it gives the impression or tries to convince people that it is an actual bomb when they use it in a threatening manner.
Here's this. This says, police spokesman James McClellan says, we have no information that he claimed it was a bomb, McClellan said. He kept maintaining it was a clock, but there was no broader explanation. So that was their reason for arresting him, because he had no broader explanation. This is ridiculous.
So here we have, so he never, even the cops and teachers admit that, and you know, if you think I'm cop bashing here, you need to like go soak your freaking head and come back and talk.
It could reasonably be mistaken as a device, if left in a bathroom or under a car. The concern was, what was this thing built for? Do we take him into custody?
Well,
So
hang
now-
on a second.
wow.
So now it is illegal for a 14-year-old to be in possession of wires and a circuit board?
You better stop inventing stuff, America.
You better stop thinking. And just it wasn't an iPhone. That's what we know. It wasn't an iPhone, therefore you're not allowed to have it. So nowhere in this story does it say that the kid ever communicated a threat. All right? And they even say that he never communicated a threat. So his mistake was assuming that the adults that he encountered would be able to exercise some type of rational or critical thinking skills and understand that it wasn't a bomb, nor was it intended to be a bomb. Okay, let's go ahead and take the bomb equation out of here. Let's take all that other stuff out of there. Let us say that Ahmed is a bad 14-year-old and he's not a nice kid. I'm not saying that, but let's just, for the sake of argument. And the teachers decide that little Ahmed here is a threat to his peers. Okay, little Ahmed is still 14 years old. Little Ahmed is still a juvenile. Now, unless the state of Texas has changed juvenile laws, I don't know what they are now. Maybe they've changed. Maybe you can detain juveniles infinitely without contacting their parents. But I'm telling you this, do your research, and they cannot detain your children without attempting to contact you. But it goes on all the time. And the fact that they not only detained this kid at the school without contacting the parents, but then transported him to another facility. And why do you transport kids? You know how many juveniles I detained as a police officer? A lot. I detained a lot of juveniles. And never once, maybe I didn't do it enough, but never once was I forced to take a kid to a juvenile detention facility. And they didn't even actually call them you don't remember the JAC or JAF? We called it the Juvenile Attention Facility. Anyway, it didn't matter. The joint, that's what we call it. Taking the kids to the joint. I never had to do that because I was always able to, at some point in time, contact the parents. And here's the thing. The only time you're allowed to incarcerate a kid without charges or without a judge's order is if you believe that they are a threat to themselves or others. If you can reasonably demonstrate, if you can go in front of a judge and say, the reason that we had to detain this kid, the reason that we had to take him to the JAC, the reason he had to go was because he was either a threat to himself or others. Based upon this story, I don't see anything in this story that would convince me that little Ahmed Mohammed was a threat to himself or others and needed to be detained. Folks, this stink isn't going to go away. By the time you hear this, the stink is probably going to be on CNN. It's going to be everywhere. We've got to exercise some intelligent thought as adult human beings in this country today. And I know a lot of you are out there. It's easy to say, "Oh, hang on, Paul. You're always talking about goat rapists." Yeah, I always am. And their actions, and their demonstrated actions. If you have a kid here that has not demonstrated any actions, and you have a kid that is being detained and questioned without their parents. All right, first of all, care. They're going to get this kid's parents' attorneys.
They already did.
Yeah, they've got this kid's parents' attorneys are going to rip this school district apart, and they're going to rip apart the police agency like a jackal on a recently downed gazelle. They're going to tear them to shreds. You cannot detain a juvenile, question a juvenile, and hold them without attempting to contact their parents, unless you can display. You can show there was no way to do it. The parents were unavailable. It was an emergency situation. It had to happen. But are we seeing that in America today? Are we seeing, we take a 6-year-old into the principal's office and hold him there for, 90 minutes until they pee on themselves because it was such a critical emergency? I don't know what to tell you. And for those of you who think, oh, well, it's just a little brown Mohammed kid, that it won't happen to my kids. You really think that? You really think that wouldn't happen to your kid? If you think that wouldn't happen to your kid, I hope you're enjoying what you're smoking, because it can. Get your kids out of public schools. Get your kids out of public schools. Did you hear me that time? Oh, you don't understand, Paul. I can't. It's too hard. Then shut up. When your kids are abused, indoctrinated by these socialist weenies, these big state weenies, when you find out that they're being fed a bunch of filth and garbage and essentially indoctrinated, or they're being abused and terrorized by the public school system, when you discover that and realize it, and you're like, oh man, I'm really angry, or I'm upset that this is happening. What the hell are you talking about? This is a pattern of behavior that's been going on for years and years and years. And it's not getting any better because people just like you say, you don't understand. I can't take my kids out of public school. They have to go. Then stop acting surprised. Get in line and register your guns. Get in line, put your head down, look at the ground, and do what you're told. Do what your slave masters tell you. Oh, did I just make you uncomfortable? Did I just hurt your feelings? Oh, I'm sorry. Jared, where can they go if they have hurt feelings? There's somewhere they can go to get a little kit to take care of that.
What are you talking about?
The hurt feelings kit.
Oh, militiaarmament.com.
Yeah. They have a special.
We're working on one with branded with our stuff, though.
They have
so.
a super special
Yeah.
hurt feelings kit for your widow feelings. That's all I have to tell you. Know, folks, how many more examples do you need? Do you need to wait until it's your kid that's being interrogated in the principal's office for 2 hours? Do you need to wait until that? Or are you going to do something now? You're like, oh, man, you don't understand, Paul. My school district is excellent. The parents are spot on. The administrators aren't a bunch of socialist weenies. Hey, rock on. Congratulations. You found a unicorn. Ride it over the rainbow. But for the rest of the world, the public school system is stocked full of liberals, socialists, and statist weenies who have no ability to exercise any kind of critical or rational thought. Yep. So, have fun, America. And while you're having fun, know this, we'll be having fun here on the sunny Gulf Coast of Biloxi, Mississippi. Now, this is it. That is the very end of the public hour. You know what you should be doing? You should be having your kids read and educate them with Aesop's Fables, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. Like I said, this is it for the public broadcast. For all of you very, very lucky and fortunate grad program people, we'll be chatting with you tomorrow. Now, grad program people, heads up. We've got a new program for you. We've got something new and cool. We are going to allow you, the Student of the Gun grad program people, to participate and to vote on something that's going to be very cool. And we're going to talk to you about it tomorrow. For the rest of the world, we will see you, talk to you. You will hear our voices on Monday.